Opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the wonderful world of wellness with Dr. Andy Mencia. This medical program heard from 7 to 7:30 each Saturday right here on WSBR 740 AM is brought to you by the Adult and Geriatric Center under the medical direction of geriatrician Dr. Andy Mencia. Well, that's the wonderful world of wellness. It's a little different this morning.
Hawaiian touch.
For people
Thank you, Richard.
who may have just tuned in, they have no idea what's happened here, right?
Richard is a magician.
Yeah, he is. We were talking in the first last 15 minutes. We found we had some extra time, and so Dr. Mencia was talking a lot about Hawaii, which is an interesting place, and I wondered what the dance meant, the hula, and he explained it, so that's what the music was.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, welcome to everyone to the show, right? And I wanted to, I've been very upset hearing about Hillary Clinton and that here she fell, and the next thing we know, she had a blood clot, and you've always said falling can be very dangerous.
Falling can be very, very dangerous, and people won't even notice, like Hillary. Hillary Clinton have no idea of the complication of a fall. And, she's a young woman. So regardless of your age and regardless of how active you are, now this is a young woman, very active, with all the commodity a ex-first lady can have. And she had a fall, and look at the consequences of her fall. So a lot of times when people at home, in the condominium, in the assisted living facility, have a fall, they don't want to go to an emergency room. They don't want the doctor to know they had a fall because they feel guilty now. They feel down. They feel less independent because they had a fall. And one of the awareness I think we need to bring is that when you fall, regardless of how insignificant you think the fall is, you should talk to the doctor. You should have the doctor take a look at you. Sometimes you might fall and you won't even hit your head. As Hillary did, hit the head, and then she developed that clot, and that's why she was put on the blood thinner. The other option would have been to do surgery to try to remove the blood clot, but to do surgery in the area of the brain like that is more benign to go along with the blood thinner.
Dr. Mencia, our staff member's husband was taking a shower, and no one knew about this because only after we tried to figure out what happened, and he slipped in the shower. He may have hit his head. They don't know if he passed out or whatever happened, but he didn't tell anybody. And it was a couple of weeks later that he started getting dizzy. And he went, and he was in very serious trouble because he had really a concussion. He'd been walking around with a concussion. He had a subdural hematoma. Definitely a big problem. And he had a heart problem before. So everything you're saying is so true.
So, and a subdural hematoma is a hematoma that is above the brain. So it's not really affecting the brain yet. But the brain is like a sponge. And blood is stronger than the sponge. So the blood being heavier than the sponge, it can push the sponge, and then it will affect the brain indirectly. So when you have a subdural hematoma, as that blood starts accumulating, the brain is going to be pushed to a side. And when that brain is being pushed, that's when you start developing all the neurological symptoms.
Oh, I see. Yes, so that's
how one patient that we saw, and one of her eyelid have dropped. So it's like a bird palsy, but only her eye. So it's a palsy of the nerve that influence the eyelid. So when she's driving with one eye, So she said, no, I cannot do this. I better get somebody to drive me. So she got one of her friends, and he drove her to my office. And we did a workup because the neurologist said to her, probably it's a viral infection. I said, no, I think let's do the workup. And she had a small subdural that was affecting the nerve. And just one eye, the right eye, was, shutting down on her. And we did the workup, and, there was a subdural that we went ahead and started now treatment so we can make things better for her. So, it can be very significant, and it can be misinterpreted, as something else, like a little viral infection or something like that.
And you just brought up a point that I was spanked for last week, and I learned my lesson. It's going to be in your article. Now, maybe I would have, if that happened, say, I'm going to the ophthalmologist because it's my eye.
Absolutely.
And that was wrong.
That was wrong.
I go to my internist,
you goes to a good internist,
then you look.
That can do the workup.
See, that's the whole point, and that's a very good thing. The same thing when I fell, or when I had a swollen knee, I should have gone to you first. But see, we have too many specialists, but it's more than that. We have too much on the internet.
I have to tell you a good story.
Okay.
One of your good friends that I met in one of the expos, she had the same thing. Her is the left knee, I believe. I think her is the left knee. Beautiful lady, one of your friends. She had the same thing. She also went to the orthopath. She got a brace from ankle to... So she said, I heard the story of Anita on the radio.
You're kidding!
She came to see me.
No, you're kidding. Now, that's very funny.
So we started the workup, and we started, seeing things and doing things for her. I said, well, we had to rule out a blood clot here. And she's so appreciative. She's so happy.
The way they read your article in January.
She met Rosemary. So she was...
That's fantastic. But
she was on the way to the bathroom to give the urine sample. I said, wait, don't go. Here's Rosemary. You can say hello to Rosemary.
But this is common, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happened to me is common that
It happened to so many people, and we write it off. And sometimes we're even afraid. We say, if we don't tell the primary, we just go to a specialist, then nobody have to know about it. And that's bad. That's one thing that we need to bring awareness to people. If you have a fall, your primary doctor knows you very well. Or supposed to, right? Knows you very well. And the idea is that if you have a fall, and with the blessing of God is something that didn't affect any organ, no fracture or anything like that, you have to think forward and say, if I continue to have falls, then a major problem can happen. And Hillary Clinton is a good example of one of those major problems. The other one is, a lot of times as we age, a lot of us either have or will have osteoporosis. So imagine if your bones, instead of being nice and strong, they are mushy. So you can fall on your butt. You can try to sit on the chair and fall down and fall on your butt on the floor. And you say, it was nothing. Only from the height of the chair to the floor. You say, it's nothing, I'm okay. Maybe a little bruising on your butt, and you are up and about. From that fall, you can have what we call a compression fracture of your spine. And then suddenly you say, how did I lose half an inch so quick? It doesn't make sense. My clothes, my shirt that used to fit me okay, now it's a little bit too long on me. And my body looks shorter. What's going on? So, from a fall, you can have something so obscure like a compression fracture of your back that is correctable. There are procedures we can do now. There is a balloon that we can put in the spine, and we can blow up that balloon so that we can regain the height of that spine.
Okay, but you're not doing that in your office, so make that very clear. But then you would recommend someone.
I have an orthopedic doctor that works with me. I have an orthopedic doctor that works with me that will perform the procedure. So everything is at the office. What we need to do is, and what people need to understand, if you had a fall today and you come to me August of 2013, that bones have already calcified, and it will be very difficult to open that bone. It's like if you break a hip and you don't do surgery and you let that heal, you have to re-break that bone to fix it. So in the spine, you cannot re-break the spine. So the take-home message is that if you have a problem, when it's an acute problem, we can do a lot of things to fix that problem moving forward.
Okay. So a year ago, I just have to keep using myself as an example. A year ago, when I fell and I hit this knee, and it swelled up, but I didn't hurt, and it didn't hurt anything else. It then went away. I probably put ice on it, went away. Should I have come to you at that point when I did that? Was
Absolutely.
that necessary?
Absolutely.
What would you have done with something like that at that time?
Well, now with this event that you have, all of the swelling, what it's telling me is that 1 year ago there's some instability that were not attended to. And now it can become a chronic problem, which means that, for example, if you go dancing, you don't want to worry about your right knee when you are dancing. You just want to dance and have fun. Now you're going to say, well, if I make certain move and my knee hurt, I better be careful. So it sort of restrict the person from doing things. So the moment you feel something, get it checked, be aggressive, do something about it.
You don't think it's a hypochondriac? I mean, what's the difference in a hypochondriac and you fall and you go to the doctor?
Hypochondria is when you almost fall down. You didn't quite fall down, and you go to the doctor and say, can you do an MRI from head to toes? Because I think something happened to me because the thought of falling just, hit my head.
But there's someone that comes to you. Do you have hypochondriacs that come to you?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
How do you know if it's real and not?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So how do you know if it's real or not?
Well, when I study psychology, one of the golden rules that I learned, and that I think that's one of the things that make me a good physician today, my background in psychology. When I studied psychology, we said that regardless of, first we don't judge the patient. So when the patient come and say, listen, my eyes are blue and they used to be brown, and I want you to find out why they are blue now and no, they are not brown like 2 years ago.
You don't bring the man in with a white coat, right?
No, you try to work up the patient. You try to find out. I tell you a story. I have a patient when I was in Mount Sinai, New York, and that's when my background in psychology was very shiny. There was a patient in Mount Sinai, New York that came in, and the person was very depressed. It was a young guy in his 50s. He also was a physician. And, some of the students didn't want to take him because he's a doctor. They were afraid. I said, I'll take him. I'll talk to the guy. So I went
Hawaiian blood.
Yeah. So I said, let me go and talk to him. So he's a physician, and I'm talking to the guy. And I say, have you ever been depressed before? He said, no. And his life was doing great. He's doing fine. And they wanted to commit the guy to the psych ward. And I say, let's do the organic workup first. Let's rule out problem. So when you do your research, one of the cancers that tend to present with depression is pancreatic cancer. So I say, let me do an ultrasound of the pancreas. And then the students here are going crazy, say, what does that have to do with depression? And so I said, let me do the pancreatic workup. And lo and behold, the guy had a cancer. And it was, the pancreas looked like a fish. So you have the head of the pancreas, you have the tail of the pancreas. When you have a cancer on the head of the pancreas, they are very deadly. There's very little that can be done. When it's on the tail of the pancreas, there's better chance of survival if you, catch it early. So his cancer was on the tail of the pancreas. And when we got the ultrasound, there's a mass on the tail of the pancreas. Immediately, we ordered the CAT scan. And I told the guy, I think I know where your depression is coming from. And he was happy. He started smiling because he didn't understand why he was getting depressed. His family was there. He is so happy. He said, as a doctor, I try to ask myself, why am I depressed? I should not be depressed, but I am depressed. And I cannot knock it off. I cannot just shake it off. So we did the CAT scan, we did the workup. Immediately we called the surgeon, and the guy survived. And everybody knows, whoever have any family member with pancreatic cancer, how deadly it can be. So
that's a fantastic story.
So, a lot of times when we have one patient yesterday. I have a new patient that came in with the daughter. I think they're from Michigan. And the daughter just relocated, and they went to a highly reputable hospital to be worked up by a neurologist for Alzheimer. And so this is the other side. Now this is the medical side. Supposedly the patient have Alzheimer. So the daughter, who is into real estate management and stuff, she's telling me, since her husband died 4 years ago, she's really been going downhill, and they put her on medication. She went berserk with all the medication. So, if it's Alzheimer, they put you on medication, you should do okay. If your sugar is high, they put you on sugar medication, your sugar should come down. But if your sugar is normal and they put you on sugar medication, your sugar is going to drop too much. So this medicine wasn't for her. And I said, she's already seeing in South Florida a neurologist that is working her up for Alzheimer's disease. I said, you know what? I just spent 5 minutes with you, and I can tell you one good news. You do not have Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
And, so I say, tell me about your husband. She started crying. The daughter started crying. And I say, you are depressed. You lost your husband of 64 years, how many years they were married. And she just lost her husband. And of course, when you are depressed, you will look like an Alzheimer patient. It's called pseudo-dementia. It's not true dementia. So it's good to get to the bottom, to the organic bottom of a problem. Even if it's a hypochondria, the hypochondriac person can have a medical problem. So it's good to always work up the person, whether we think it's psychological or no. Because, from the Asian philosophy of healthcare, there is a very strong connection between body and mind. So we can have the body do things through your mind that for a person looking from the outside would not understand. For example, when I'm doing taekwondo, I can walk on glass, on broken glass, and not cut myself. I can take a nail and drive a nail with my hand through wood. But you look at my hand, they don't look abnormal. It's like a normal hand. So it's what we call mind over body, mind over matter, taking over. And the same thing when you are feeling down, when you are feeling sick, you can say, I can fight this. And you can really fight it. It's the same thing when we smoke cigarette. And we can tell ourselves, you know what? I can go ahead, I'm going to fight this the habit, and I'm going to take over. I'm going to take command of my life. Alcohol. Overeating, being productive versus being passive, being somebody just going out there and meeting people instead of being stuck in an ALF or a condominium, an apartment, and being there by yourself.
Going to the senior center and doing something, right, and saying, I want to tell you something.
954.
Well, you know what? I really stand here and say this is the most wonderful program, and the things that you've just said. People are sitting there at home and they're saying, "Wow, that sounds like me. I'm depressed, but maybe I'm really not depressed. Maybe I have something else, and I better go get worked up."
Exactly.
Let me give you the phone number. And Saturdays, we're very lucky. I don't know of any other company
with bells and whistles.
Right.
Oh, we have an emergency. Look at this. We have a dental emergency. We have a patient
today coming in.
Yes, we have a patient that is going on a cruise, and she has a dental emergency. So Rosemary is going to be there.
Oh, what a wonderful! That's such a wonderful thing.
I love that when we are able to do those things. So she will be able to go on her cruise, the patient, and all that
it's
stuff.
Amazing. I know. Well, and you've been practicing a long time. It's amazing. Your enthusiasm has never waned. Let me give you a phone number. Mark this down. Put it up on your refrigerator. 954-489-1345. That's 954 489-1345. It's the Adult and Geriatric Medical Center. They're located at 1608 East Commercial Boulevard, and it's just a little bit west of Holy Cross Hospital on Commercial. They have a beautiful building, and if you want to get on the website, it's adultgeriatrics.com. Adultgeriatrics.com. Now, Medicare and most insurances are accepted, and you can call for an appointment today because they will take you if it's an emergency. Otherwise, you can go other days. Now, make sure you've had your. I do want to talk a little bit about your what happens when someone didn't have a flu shot and they get sick and they're older. It's such a simple thing. Are people still getting flu shots here in January?
They still can get the flu shot. And
is it still worthwhile now?
It was on the news this week. The flu is being associated with a very bad bacteria. People are getting very, very sick. You need, in some of the occasions, you might need to take antibiotic. I'm using a combination of Mucinex and Tylenol or Aleve, colon sinus with antibiotic to help the patient out. There's a bad bug going around that is giving bronchopneumonia. So if you didn't get your flu and you didn't get sick, do it now. And,
the man that I work with at the printer wound up in the hospital with bronchial pneumonia, but now his situation is he's been having cancer treatment for something else.
It's so bad it was all over the news this week. So
but now
really
the fact that I've had my flu shot, if I should get it, it's just not going to be the same, right?
Exactly, you are protected.
But nevertheless, I'm going to take your advice, and if I have a problem, I'm coming to you, so I don't want it to get worse, and that you could do something. And, I guess this is maybe people sitting at home are thinking the way I've been thinking. I was always trained, don't run to the doctor because for every little thing. And so I'm a big, brave woman. I don't go to the doctor. I rarely go to a doctor for anything. And I always feel if I go to the doctor, it's like, oh, baby, or it's a hypochondriac stuff. So you got to really straighten me out on this.
Yeah, if you are over the age of 65, you should go to a doctor at least 3 to 4 times a year, minimum. That's the minimum if you are over the age of 65. And what you are doing, but it's a quick visit. You come one time, you get your blood test done, you get everything done, your electrocardiogram. You get everything done, and then moving forward is a quick preventive visit. Check your blood pressure, listen to your lung, look at you. And yesterday I saw one of my patients that came for that quick visit. And, I do a lot of aesthetics, so I do a lot of skincare. When the patient came in, I saw something that he had not even seen on his face. And it looked like squamous cell. And I said, well, next week, you're going to come back. So instead of coming back in 2 months, he's going to come back next week. And I said, you're going to see my dermatologist. And that little thing in your face, he didn't even notice. I took a mirror to show him. I said, that little thing in your face needs to come off. And I believe it's a squamous cell cancer, so don't worry about it. It's very benign. It's not, a basal cell cancer that is very benign. It's not the squamous type that you have to do, more aggressive surgery. So you're going to be okay, but let's not write this thing off. So it was in a quick visit like that we were able to pick something, like this and try to take care of the patient. So, coming to the doctor, having that quick visit, you might say, oh, but I have a blood pressure machine. But you are not a doctor. You have to look at the entire body. And don't forget, we are open today, and we still have the flu shot.
No, we're still okay. We're still all right. Are you playing that Hawaiian music again? Oh, he's really, he loves this. He loves to play with this stuff.
He's a master of his field.
Yeah, that's right.
Richard is the man.
Well, the things that we discussed today were really very, very important.
We are open on Saturday.
I'm going to have to do this. Just people, listen, if they're sitting at home, you have to do this slowly. 954-489-1345. And the nice thing is that when someone answers the phone, you'll be very surprised that someone will answer the phone. Yes. And they will really take care of what you need. They're really wonderful there at the Adult and Geriatric Center. Thank you, Dr. Mencia, as usual.
Always
Did you
a
enjoy
pleasure,
the circus,
Anita.
by the way?
Not yet.
Rosemary went.
Rosemary went.
She was
right?
so excited. She was like a little girl.
Yeah.
She was so excited.
She was so
It
excited
funny.
about it, yeah.
And you took the three
Yes,
girls.
yeah.
And the one from Norway, she liked
The
that?
one she loves it. They went to
great.
New York and
I
they're gonna
know.
go back, so they are like ready to go to New York.
It's really
now.
great. I just admire you and your family and what you do and all the things. I know we didn't get to talk. You're so beautiful. And
With her shoes.
yeah, with
and-
her mother now and all. We have to go. Unfortunately, we have no time left. But thank you very much for being here
And
with
thank
us
you,
this
Richard,
morning.
for the nice music.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll be back. We have an author calling in from Pennsylvania. Coal Dust is White. And he is in his, I think he's 89. It's fantastic.